Hello and welcome to Round 4 Flicks. Whether you like to acknowledge it or not, historical ethics is one of the best movie genres that has ever been created. The strong character backdrops that are larger than life and the intense, incredible action sequences that are not just visually stunning but also create an extended impact on the audience. So today we're ranking our top 10 picks to help you choose which historical movies to watch. Let's now begin the video. Number 10. The Last Duel. Ridley Scott is the director of this historical action drama film. The story revolves around Marguerite de Carouges and Jacques Legris, who were once best friends but later fell out fiercely. Carouges is a legendary warrior known for his bravery and skill on the battlefield, and Legris is a French lad whose genius and personality make him one of the most adored lords in court. Jacques quickly denies putting three people's lives in jeopardy to settle the argument when Marguerite, Jean's wife, charges him with assault. King Charles VI orders violent combat between Jean de Carouges and his opponent that night, leaving the outcome of the contest in God's hands. The events leading up to the fight are divided into three distinct portions that show the three main actors from their own points of view. It is based on a true event that took place in France in the 14th century. You will be astounded by this exciting, action-packed, and superbly created movie. Number 9. APOCALYPTO. Mel Gibson is the director of this epic historical adventure film. The story takes place in 1502 and follows a young man named Jaguar Paw, a renowned Mayan hunter, and his fellow citizens as they are abducted by an occupation force searching for slaves and people to sacrifice to their gods. While the country is at the peak of its power and wealth, the civilization's foundations are breaking down, and the rulers feel they must build more temples and massacre more people, or their food and citizens will perish. Jaguar Paw, along with his entire village, is taken hostage during an invasion, and he is ready to perform a sacred ritual, that is, until he somehow manages to get away and tries to get back to his wife and unborn child. This is an exceptional movie that must be seen. Every scene in this extraordinary, brutal, and wonderful movie is thoughtfully prepared and executed. Although the plot is quite simple, the visuals and portrayal are superb. Number 8. There Will Be Blood. Paul Thomas Anderson is the director of this epic period drama film. The story centers on a silver miner named Daniel Plainview, who struggles to make a living while caring for his adopted son, H.W. Plainview. However, when Daniel discovers oil near Los Angeles, he launches a mining operation and sets out on a relentless drive to become the most influential oil tycoon in the country. By pretending to be a trustworthy family man, Plainview uses his son H.W. Plainview to trick nearby landlords into selling him their valuable properties for lower prices. But when a Catholic priest called Eli Sunday starts to have doubts about Plainview's genuine motives, it threatens Daniel's cunning plan to build up wealth and power, and ignites a simmering rivalry that puts both of their lives at risk. It's a movie that epitomizes class in every sense. It tells the story of a man who will do whatever it takes to achieve and see his rivals fall short. Number 7. The First King, Birth of an Empire. Matteo Rovere is the director of this historical drama film. The story centers on Romulus and Remus, two 18-year-old twins who peacefully lived close to the Tiber River. Unfortunately, their peaceful existence is suddenly disturbed when the Tiber River overflows, taking both them and their animals with it. Despite narrowly escaping death, they are sold as slaves and transported to the kingdom of Alba, where they are forced to fight one another. While Romulus is organizing a revolt and taking the majority of the slaves with him, he never gives up on his ambition to cross the river and find a new city. He eventually becomes the rebel commander. But just as Remus begins to think that the gods are on their side, Satnii declares the terrible prediction that the empire will be named after the brother who kills the other one. It is a fantastic film with breathtaking visuals, an engaging story, top-notch acting, and battle scenes that feel extremely realistic. Number 6. The Imitation Game. Morten Tyldum is the director of this historical drama film. The story takes place in 1939, when Alan Turing, a mathematician from Cambridge University, is hired by the newly formed British intelligence agency MI6 to crack Nazi codes, particularly the Enigma code, which cryptographers had previously thought was impossible to crack. During World War II, the Nazis sent messages using a secret code called Enigma. Joan Clark is a member of Alan's team and is chosen to analyze Enigma transmissions as Alan develops a mechanism to decipher them. Later, Alan Turing and his team succeeded in their mission and became known as heroes. But in 1952, the authorities uncovered Alan Turing's sexual orientation and imprisoned him, humiliating the modest genius. This film demonstrates that a good historical film may be created without plenty of action and violence. Anyone who enjoys mathematics, riddles, and real-world occurrences should see this movie. Number 5. The Battleship Island. Raya Sungwon is the director of this action drama film. The movie is set during the time of Japanese colonization and tells the story of about 400 Koreans who were forced to work as slaves on Battleship Island, digging for coal. The story centers on Lee Kang-ok, a bandmaster at a restaurant who decides to go to Japan to protect his daughter but ends up being forced to fight on Battleship Island. However, when it becomes known that the Japanese plan to bomb the entire island, chaos sets in. Tensions are also high between the various Koreans from different backgrounds who were tricked or tortured into arriving on the island and the Japanese troops, who uphold the law with shocking brutality and savagery. If you enjoy action movies, perilous survival scenarios, and all-around thrilling entertainment, I strongly suggest this one to you. Number 4. Downfall. Oliver Hirschbiegel is the director of this historical war drama film. The film is set in 1942 and follows Traute Junge, a young lady who lands her dream job as Adolf Hitler's secretary, who is at the top of his supremacy. However, Hitler's kingdom has transformed a period of 3 years into his underground facility, and Traute'll judge. The dictator's final secretary recounts the final hours of his life there as the Second World War approaches a conclusion, snapping at imaginary backstabbers and commanding fictitious troops as other important Nazis prepare for the end. Downfall shows the events of a country collapsing from a variety of perspectives, from the Hitler henchmen sheltering beneath Berlin's streets to the soldiers and residents battling and dying as the Soviet troops destroyed the city. Downfall is exceptional in every way and one of the best World War II movies ever made. Number 3. The Admiral, Roaring Currents. Kim Han-min is the director of this historical epic action war film. The story revolves around the War of Myeonjang in 1597, which is considered as one of Joseon Commander Yi Sun-sin's most stunning military victories. Under his command, 12 ships bravely defeated a Japanese invasion force of 333 warships. The story focuses on Admiral Yi Sun-sin's epic struggle against the vast fleet of Japanese battleships that were attempting to invade Korea. Without a doubt, this is one of the best sea war movies you will ever see. Although the story is fantastic, the fight sequences are really insane, and the visual images of the ship's fleet in the water are mind-blowing. Do not miss it if you haven't already seen it. It is an epic and a visual feast. Number 2. Master and Commander, The Far Side of the World. Peter Weir is the director of this epic action-adventure film. The story takes place during the Napoleonic Wars and is centered on Jack Aubrey, a British ship's commander from that time who is tasked with destroying the French battleship Acarian before it poses a threat to a British naval fleet. However, Aubrey quickly learns that finding Acarian will be challenging because it is a stronger and larger ship than the Surprise, placing the Surprise at a disadvantage in the face of additional inside difficulties that have increased what they consider to be a string of bad luck. In the end, Aubrey makes use of fresh information to create a plan of action for the ship's impossibly difficult task. The movie received accolades for its epic action scenes, light-hearted dialogue, and realistic portrayal of Russell Crowe's Aubrey. Put it on your watch list if you haven't already watched it, since it is a lost treasure. Number 1. Outlaw King. David Mackenzie is the director of this historical action film. The story revolves around the Scottish Prince Robert, who fought a bloody battle in the 14th century against an English force with greater military power. Most of the action in the film occurs in the 3 years between 1304, when Bruce decides to rebel against Edward's rule over Scotland and becomes an outlaw, and the Loudon Hill War in 1307. Bruce finds a band of rebels to help him retake the kingdom when the English army drives him into hiding. Then he uses his cunning and bravery to combat the considerably larger and better equipped English force. Some people would compare it to Braveheart, but I thought the characters were more accurately portrayed. Additionally, try to watch this movie on a bigger screen to fully appreciate the violence of the final fight sequence and the stunning Scottish scenery. That is all for today. Thank you for watching, and please subscribe to our channel to view future videos about suggested movies and television shows.